This slab sat in my shop for years. Just leaned over in a corner, collecting dust, getting ignored, basically one cleanup day from getting tossed. Today, I'm turning this forgotten mystery slab into a black epoxy river table. By the end of this build, it's getting a real purpose at my house. And you're never gonna guess what for. Now before you get to the sexy part of that river table, we gotta do that prep work. That means knocking off anything loose, cleaning up the edges, getting rid of any weak or rotted wood, and making sure you're actually starting with something solid. This slab already had a ton of character. I'm not even totally sure what species it is. Maybe box elder, maybe fire box elder. If you know, drop it in the comments. All I knew was red accents and that grain pattern deserved a second chance. Now once I had it all cleaned up, it was time to stabilize the wood. For that, I'm using our Penetrate Epoxy. I thinned down the Penetrate Epoxy by adding 10% by volume of acetone. Mix thoroughly and we're ready to apply using a brush or a roller. You could even use a squeegee. This part isn't about making it pretty yet. It's about sealing the slab, strengthening the fibers, and helping cut down on those outgassing bubbles later on when we pour that river. Thinning the material with acetone gets it to soak in really deep instead of just sitting on the surface. I coated the surface and the edges, getting ready for that black river pour. And once that's ready, I'll give you a few tips on building that form. Nothing too crazy here. Just make sure those walls are high enough over your slab. Everything's sealed up well, and the whole setup is ready to hold that deep pour without making a giant mess. I love using Tyvek tape on the base, the form walls, and then I use latex caulking around the exterior bottom of my form walls. For the river color, I went with black. And to me, it was the absolute move. The slab already had so much going on visually, I didn't want the epoxy fighting the wood. I wanted something that would frame it, ground it, and make that natural color pop. For deep pours like this, you're gonna wanna try our ultra deep epoxy, designed for pours up to 3 inches thick. And man, this stuff is amazing. This is one of the most satisfying parts of a build like this. And when the resin starts to fill the gap, you can finally see the project that you had in your head come to life. Here's a pro tip on your edges. Pull your slab away from your form walls so the resin soaks into your edges and any voids. That way, when you cut it later on, you're cutting solid epoxy instead of a wood edge filled with a bunch of voids and you're scratching your head going, Mitch, how the heck do I fill these? We're gonna let it cure, give it plenty of time. I'm talking 5 to 7 days before popping it out of that form. And once it came out of the form, I could tell real quick the slab was worth saving. From there, it was time to flatten it out once again using our Slab Jig. And you'll notice I kept this epoxy a little lower than the slab itself on purpose. Black dyed resin can soak into blonde wood and stain it pretty deep into those fibers. I didn't want that muddying up any of those red tones that made this piece extra special. So now it's just a matter of taking your time. Light passes, flatten it out, clean up the edges, square up everything, and start bringing the final shape into focus. This is one of my favorite stages because every pass reveals a little more character. The more cleaned up, the more obvious it became. This thing's gonna be awesome. Then I rounded the edges over and got the whole piece ready for a sanding. If you haven't heard about that Slab Jig we sell, it's an amazing tool. Using your own router, level any twisted or warped woodworking project quickly, efficiently, without running across town to a cabinet shop. And once all that slab jigging was done, it was time to sand everything smooth and get rid of any of those tool marks. And like always, this stage matters more than people think. If you want the piece to look clean in the end, this is where you earn it. but it's not that big of a deal. We're only sanded to 220. And after sanding, I'm going to hit this with another penetrate coat to seal up that wood. That's going to prevent extra bubbles from getting into our finish coats. That gives me a much better surface to work from once I move in to the final epoxy steps. Alright, from here on out, it's all about laying down a couple coats of that beautiful glass-like substance we all like to call Woodshop Epoxy Flood Coat from Stone Coat Epoxy. We're getting that surface to look clean, getting the sheen to be glossy shiny, and making sure the final piece feels finished. Instead of just done, this is the stage where the project really crosses the finish line and stops feeling like some old forgotten slab experiment. It starts feeling like a legit finished piece. And I've got to say, I'm really glad this thing didn't end up in the trash pile, because once that black river and all the color in the wood started playing off each other, this table just came alive. And as I'm reading this, I get goosebumps again. I love this table. This is exactly why I love projects like this. Sometimes the best piece in your shop is the one you almost gave up on. Oh, just like me. Depending on your species of wood you're working with, it's going to kind of determine how many flood coats of that flood coat epoxy you're going to need. The softer the wood, the more coats you're going to need. This one had a couple little potholes, so I went for an additional flood coat, and man, did she start to pop. And at this point, all the hard work is done, and we're finally get to enjoy the payoff. Clean lines, awesome grain, those red tones still showing through, and that black river tying the whole thing together like Lebowski's rug.
That rug really tied the room together, did it not?
Honestly, I need to do more woodworking builds like this, so let me know. What species do you think this slab actually is? Was the black river the right call? And if I ever sold something like this, what do you think it would go for? This one turned out even better than I expected. And the best part of this project is, this one actually has a home. It's gonna live inside mine. It's gonna be part of a setup for Tuck, my musk turtle. And Tuck's got a pretty wild origin story. About 13 or 14 years ago, my mom and dad were running the historic Wolf Creek Inn down in southern Oregon. It's an old stagecoach stop. They did weddings, events, it was a bed and breakfast, all kinds of cool stuff out there. At one point, I talked them into doing a crawfish festival. So naturally, we flew in 500 pounds of live mud bugs from Louisiana. And somehow, I ended up being the guy in charge of picking them up, cleaning them, purging them, and sorting through all of it before they got cooked. And in one of those 25-pound sacks of crawfish, there was a tiny little baby musk turtle. And I mean tiny. That little dude could fit in the bottom of a pint glass. So I channeled my inner Steve Irwin, rest in peace, and I looked up on Google how to take care of a musk turtle. Brought him home, and all these years later, he's still with us. So taking a slab that almost got thrown away and turning it into something useful for Tuck at home, that makes this project hit a little different. That's a pretty good ending. From all of us here at Stone Coat Epoxy, don't forget, you got this. And we'll see you on the next video.
Stoke